Good afternoon, guys. So, welcome to the first class of this week. So, we are in the lecture 13. We are in the lecture 33 of material science subject, management science subject. So, we have discussed many topics in this units 2. So, we have discussed the introductory of materials management, the functions, the types of inventories, and what is the difference between inventory and inventory control. So, we will discuss the next new topic in the unit 2, that is materials classification and the various types of techniques, right? So in the last class we have discussed about economic order quantity. What is the meaning of economic order quantity, and how to balance the carrying cost and the current cost, right? How to carry the how to carry the cost with respect to the ordering cost versus the demanding cost, and what will be the difference between the two costs. Now we will see in that only in the economic order quantity. Also we have discussed about some of the problems. Also we have experienced one problems, how to face the economic order quantity problem. So we are having a formula. Based upon the formula, just write the given data and use that formula, that is economic order quantity formula, and try to solve the problems. Now the next subtopic in that economic order quantity, EOQ, is what are the various methods of pricing the materials, right? What are the various methods of pricing the materials? So, generally for a stock at the end of the accounting period, it is necessary to give the value. Okay, na? It is very necessary to give the value the stocks. It is necessary to value the stock at the end of the accounting period. So these are different methods followed in the different industries at different points and the time for this purpose. So in every organization, every country is following different sorts of methods for the accounting of the stock. So ఒక్కొక్క కంపెనీలో ఒక్కొక్క ఇండస్ట్రీలో, it may be the small scale, medium scale, or large scale. It may be the job shop production, or it may be the batch production, or it may be the mass production. They are having different independent pricing methods for the stocks according to the period. Then what are the various methods? First one is first in, first out. So we are calling them as a first in, first out. Simply FIFO means first in, first out. Next, second one is లాస్ట్ ఇన్ ఫస్ట్ అవుట్. లాస్ట్గా రావడం, ఫస్ట్గా వెళ్ళడం. ఫస్ట్ కేసు ఏంటి? ఫస్ట్గా వచ్చి ఫస్ట్లోనే వెళ్ళిపోవడం, లాస్ట్లో వచ్చి ఫస్ట్లో వెళ్ళడం. దట్ ఈస్ లిఫో, దట్ ఈస్ లాస్ట్ IFO, that is LIFO, last in, first out. Then what is the third one? Simple average price method. Simple average price method. What is the fourth one? Weighted average price method. The fourth one is weighted average for price method. So these are the three various types of methods. These are the three various types of methods which are used for giving the value to the stock in the accounting based upon the industry to industry. Now we'll see these four types of methods detailedly. Then what are the first come first out, FIFO? What we are calling the method FIFO? Here first in first out means in the system the materials first received or issued from materials. Okay, here what happens? Whatever the materials first issued, stock lo gaani, store lo gaani, whatever the materials are first received or issued, first materials from the second lot are issued only. So when the first lot is exhausted and so on, the prices of the materials are charged at the cost at which that lot was purchased. So in the first in first out law, whenever the material is completed, exhausted, or completed in the stores or in the supermarket tray, so the materials first received or issued first, ఏదైతే మెటీరియల్స్ ఫస్ట్గా మనకు వస్తున్నాయో ఆ మెటీరియల్స్ని ఫస్ట్ మనం ఇచ్చేస్తాం, issued first, right, from the second lot. So not from the first lot. Second lot lo, for example, if you're having, for example, see బనానా బిజినెస్ ఉంది అనుకుందాం. ఒక తోపుడు బండి మీద ఒకరికి బనానా బిజినెస్ ఉంది, ఫ్రూట్స్ బిజినెస్ ఉంది అనుకుందాం. సో ఫస్ట్ డే హీ కమ్స్ అండ్ సేల్ ద బనానాస్. సో ఫస్ట్ వచ్చినప్పుడు బనానాస్ ఏం సేల్ చేస్తారు? బాగా పచ్చిగా ఉన్నాయి, బాగా కాస్ట్లీ ఉన్నాయి, అంటే మంచిగా ఉన్నాయి, ఫస్ట్ సేల్ చేస్తారు. Slowly depends upon the time, afternoon, morning, afternoon, evening, night. Slowly what happens? The quality and the quantity, the quality of the material will degrade. So at that time he will use some sort of methods, that is FICO, LIFO or any other method. So like that, depends upon the material, depends upon the perishable, depends upon the non-perishable goods, depends upon the quantity, depends upon the type of company. So they are using different process of methods in order to give the value to the product. So మీరు మార్నింగ్ వచ్చినప్పుడు మీకు the dozen bananas will be of 60 or 70, ఎందుకంటే గ్రీన్ గా మంచిగా గట్టిగా ఉన్నాయి. సో ఈవినింగ్ వచ్చేసరికి కొన్ని చేంజెస్ అయిపోయి కొన్ని ముందు రోజు ఉన్న అరటి పండ్లు ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి దట్ బనానాస్ విల్ బికమ్ రైపన్. సో ది విల్ గివ్ అట్ వెరీ లో కాస్ట్. వై? బికాస్ హీ హాస్ టు సెల్ ఇట్. సో దానికి వాల్యూ చూపించాలి, ఫ్రీగా ఇవ్వలేడు కదా. సో హీ హాస్ టు గివ్ సమ్ వాల్యూ టు ద ప్రోడక్ట్, దట్స్ వై విల్ సెల్ అట్ వెరీ లో కాస్ట్. దట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో వన్ మెథడ్. సో here the FIFO method lo what happens means the material first received or issued first materials from the second lot are issued only when the first lot is exhausted, so on. So first lot lo oka 10 items unnai anukondi, second lot ready for next thing. So first lot lo 1 2 3 4 products 10th material అయిపోగానే second lot లో నుంచి first component బయటికి వెళ్తుంది, that is first in first out. So these prices of the materials are charged at the cost at which the lot was purchased. అర్థమైందా? సో కొంతమంది ఏం చేస్తారు, సో స్టాక్ పెట్టుకోకుండా ఎప్పటికప్పుడు ఫ్రెష్ గా దే విల్ సెల్ ఇట్. ఇట్ మే బి పెరిషబుల్ గూడ్స్ ఆర్ నాన్ పెరిషబుల్ గూడ్స్, డిపెండ్స్ అపాన్ ద డిమాండ్, డిపెండ్స్ అపాన్ ద క్రైసిస్, దే విల్ చేంజ్ ద వాల్యూ ఆఫ్ ద లాట్. అంతే కదా? నెక్స్ట్ the first one. The second one is last in first out. Last in and first out. In this system the materials first received or issued first materials. Okay, here the materials first received ఏదైతే వస్తున్నాయో or first materials from the second lot are issued only when the first lot is exhausted, so on. The price of the materials are charged at the cost at which the lot was purchased, right? So here what happens in this system, the materials received or issued first materials from the second lot are issued when the first lot is exhausted, so on. So last in first out, ఏదైతే లాస్ట్ వస్తుంది it will go in the first way. That is nothing but LIFO. Next, third one is simple average price method. Simple average price method. In this method the stock are issued at an average price. So whatever the stock you are giving at an average price. The average price is determined by, how will we determine? The average price is determined by dividing the sum of prices. So how you will determine the average price? It is determined by the sum of the prices at which the goods are received by the number of price available. So we'll take a lot. So oka sample oka stock ni average price తో మనం తీసుకుంటాం. So how will determine that is average? So dividing the sum of prices by the number of price available. So whatever the components you are having in the stock, for example 10 items or 20 items, based upon those things we are making average, we are making the sum of prices by the number of price available. That is nothing but simple average pricing method. Next one. So even wholesale areas lo you can see this type of simple average pricing method. Next one, weight average price method. This method is an improvement over simple average price method. So weighted average is nothing but an improvisation of simple average price method. While calculating the average price ఎలా calculate చేస్తాం? So the range in that we will take an average. So average గా తీసుకుంటాం. For example 20 rupees నుంచి 30 rupees మధ్యలో అమ్మచ్చు. For example if you take a bananas, right? If you take a bananas, he will say dozen is for example 50 rupees, right? You bargain for 30 rupees. So he will say 45 rupees. You will bargain for 30 rupees. He will say maximum I'll give 40 rupees. Antakante then tagganu. Why? Because the material is in a good condition. So you will ask for 35 rupees. No, he will not bargain. He will not reduce the amount. So he kept the 40 to 50. So 40 కంటే తక్కువ అమ్మకూడదని ఫిక్స్ అయ్యాడు. That is one calculation. That is one method of doing the business. In this weighted average price method, this method is an improvement of what? Simple average method improvement. While calculating the average price, the quantities of the each of the receipts are considered. The weighted average price method is calculated as below. So, ఎలా calculate చేస్తాం? That is equals to weighted average price is equals to W1 into P1 plus W2 into P2 plus WP into P3 divided by W1 plus W2 plus W3. Where W1, W2 and W3 refer to the quantities of the each of the three receipts. So these are the quantities of the three receipts, and P1, P2, P3 are the prices of each of the receipt. So P1 వచ్చేసి price of W1, P2 వచ్చేసి price of W2, P3 వచ్చేసి price of W3 divided by W1 plus W plus W3. So like this you have to calculate for the weighted average price demand. Right? Got it? So we are having four methods of pricing the materials what we are issuing. That is the first come first serve, last in last out, simple average method and weighted average method. Right? Next. Next. So with these things, whatever the things we are discussed in the earlier classes about the materials, what is the meaning of materials management, right? What are the functions of materials management? How do you classify in the business firm? Then what is the meaning of inventory control? What is the meaning of inventory management? What are the elements? What are the decision stages of inventory control? And what is the difference between inventory control management and control? Okay, so based on why we are doing why we have studied all these things. Why? Because whenever you are working in any industry, so everything is material, right? It may be semi-finished goods, it may be finished goods, it may be a spare parts, it may be assembled parts, it may be a working process product, or it may be any type of miscellaneous items. It is available physically in the factory, right? So whenever you are giving for shipping, or whenever it is sending from one station to other station, we have to study some sort of management things, how to do the things well. So how to do the things, how to manage the things. So how well you are managing the people is nothing but human resource management. How well you are managing the materials is nothing but materials department management. So the next topic what we'll discuss is a purely of materials engineering management. Materials engineering management. So here everything is discussed based upon the material. So here they will mainly check about the quality and quantity, right? Next. So coming to the various types of techniques, we are having two types of techniques what you have discussed, that is qualitative techniques and quantitative techniques. So now we are in the quantitative techniques. Qualitative techniques గురించి మనము ముందు క్లాసెస్ లో కంట్రోల్ చార్ట్స్ అవి ఇవి దాని గురించి మనం డిస్కస్ చేసుకున్నాం. Now quantitative techniques గురించి we will discuss. So in that quantitative techniques, how the classification of materials is for inventory control. So if we take the first one, that is a ABC. We are calling them as annual value of consumption of items. అంటే సంవత్సరం మొత్తం జరిగే వాల్యూ. సో ఐటమ్స్ ని మనము సంవత్సరం మొత్తము కన్సంప్షన్ చేస్తాము. సో దాన్ని ఎలా చూపిస్తాము క్లాసిఫికేషన్? వీఆర్ సీయింగ్ బై ఏబిసి అనాలిసిస్. సో దీనికి ఇంకో పేరు కూడా ఉంది, దట్ ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్ ఏబిసి మీన్స్ 3 classifications ఉంటుంది. A items, B items and C items. So we'll discuss those things in detail. Next, the second one is VED analysis. What is the meaning of VED analysis? Critical nature of the components with respect to the product. Okay, critical nature of the components with respect to the products will deal with the vital, essential, and desirable items. That is VED. Next one, HML. HML means unit price per material. ఒక మెటీరియల్కి ఖర్చు అయ్యే ప్రైస్, మన ఒక మెటీరియల్ని మనము తీసుకునే ప్రైస్ని ఏమంటాం? యూనిట్ ప్రైస్ పర్ మెటీరియల్. నెక్స్ట్ ఎఫ్ఎస్ఎన్. నెక్స్ట్ క్లాసిఫికేషన్ ఏంటి? ఎఫ్ఎస్ఎన్, ఇష్యూస్ ఫ్రమ్ ద స్టోర్స్. So FSN is a concept that are issuing from the stores department. Next one is SDE material. SDE classification means purchasing the problems in regard to availability. Purchasing problems in regard to the availability. So when you are purchasing, whenever there is available of goods, so some people will purchase in advance, some people will purchase at the time of availability, some people will purchase after exhaust for the second time. Next, SOS classification. SOS classification is seasonable type of criteria. ఇది మనకి seasonable type of criteria it will give. Next, GOLF, not a golf game కాదు ఇది, GOLF, that is the channels for procuring the material. So GOLF is a classification or analysis where these are used for purchasing the material. అదొక ఛానల్ మాత్రమే, అంటే ఏ పద్ధతి ద్వారా we will procure the material. నెక్స్ట్, XYZ criteria. సో ఈ XYZ క్రైటీరియాలో ఇన్వెంటరీ వాల్యూ ఆఫ్ ఐటమ్ స్టోర్డ్. సో వాట్ ఎవర్ ద ఇన్వెంటరీలో ఉన్న ఇన్వెంటరీ వాల్యూని, సో దోస్ ఆర్ స్టోరింగ్, that is discussed with the X, Y, and Z analysis. So like this, in this materials management, you are having number of methods for material classification under inventory control technique. Okay na? So this all comes under what? This all comes under quantitative techniques. Okay na? Qualitative matram ravu. Qualitative మనం ఏంటి? ఇన్స్పెక్షన్, క్వాలిటీ కంట్రోల్స్, SQC గురించి మాట్లాడుకున్నాం. those comes there. So quantitative techniques అంటే మనకి ఇవి ముందుకు వస్తుంది అన్నమాట, right? So now we'll discuss these things in detail and also we'll solve the problems based upon this classification, right? So this will be somewhat interesting by doing the problems also. Okay na? Next, if you see how they are emerged, modern techniques ni ela emerge ayinayi based upon the what type of industry. Okay, so the different business concerns may apply different inventory control techniques to meet specific requirements and circumstances. So generally, why we are doing business? ఒక manufacturing unit ఎందుకు business చేస్తాడు? ఒక సూపర్ మార్కెట్ పర్సన్, why he is doing business? For his survival? For what? So he is doing the business for the sake of what? For the sake of money, profit, loss, right? So for the sake of money, in order to get the profit, good profits, he is doing the business, right? Okay, now the different business concerns may apply different inventory techniques in order to meet the specifications, but in practice, when a firm maintains a large number of items in its inventory, obviously in all item cannot and need not be controlled. So ఎప్పుడైతే ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ మనం తీసుకొని ఇన్వెంటరీలో పెడతామో, రైట్? సో whenever we require for any persons to do the work, or whenever the item cannot be controlled, సో ఎప్పుడైతే మనము ఫోర్కాస్టింగ్ లో కంట్రోల్ అనుకున్నామో బట్ ఫోర్కాస్టింగ్ లో కంట్రోల్ కాకపోతే, keeping a records time interval between successful reviews, demand, order frequencies, etc. with equal attention. So this is a problem created with the thing. Got it? Right. These techniques are also called as selective multi-item inventory control techniques. So whatever the items you are discussing about the quantitative techniques, so these techniques are also known as selective multi-item inventory control techniques, right? Okay, Understood? Next one. Next one. Based upon these modern techniques, so in a company or a factory or supermarkets, how the parts are classified. It may be in automobile sector, or it may be in a grocery shop, or it may be in any hardware shop, or it may be in any some other garment shop. How these are classified? Okay, see, there are no hard ways. There are no hard ways and fast rules to classification of the spare parts. Next. There are no hard and fast rules to classify the spare parts. Spare parts are usually classified for the convenience of the department in the industry. Okay, that is the first point to make a note. What is the second point then? However, however, the general nomenclature in spare parts, the general, however, the general nomenclature of the inner spare parts classification is divided as first one, complete equipment. Okay, first one is a complete equipment. Second one is a different business equipment. Third one is the second one is this one. So we'll discuss detail. So however, the general nomenclature of in the spare parts can be classified as complete equipment. So what is this complete equipment? For example, you are purchasing a cell phone. Then what is the meaning of complete equipment? Means cell phone, pouch, your scratch glass, charger, earphones, manual book, earplugs. So this all the things which is nothing but a complete equipment for a cell phone. In the same way, if you take a complete equipment, you are having two types. One is major assembly, other one is a minor assemblies. Okay, major assemblies and minor assemblies. Then what are the major assemblies here? The major assemblies usually more costly. So major equipment usually more costly, more and more compared to the main equipment also, right? So these are more costly and more life. But when the action minimal cases comparatively less expensive, example lesser life, example normal things which are used for fitting of the main things. So main things ఏదైతే మనం ఫిట్ చేస్తామో these are calling them as a minor assemblies. Next one is the insurance space. So కొంతమంది సొసైటీలో generally they will go with some sort of medical claim. So if you see the insurance spares, so this will be given only for items, only for some items. For example, if you are purchasing a house or a vehicle to four-wheeler or two-wheeler, so definitely he will ask, or you may ask, what about the insurance? So why you are doing insurance? మీకు బైక్ రైడ్ చేస్తున్నారు, చిన్నప్పుడే చేస్తున్నారు, పేరెంట్స్ విల్ ఆస్క్, పోలీస్ విల్ ఆస్క్ ఫర్ ఇన్సూరెన్స్, రైట్? సో ద ఇన్సూరెన్స్ స్పేర్స్ మీన్స్ ఎప్పుడైతే మనము యాక్సిడెంట్ చేస్తే క్లెయిమ్ చేస్తామో స్పేర్స్కి, రైట్, వాళ్ళు ఏదైతే ఆ స్పేర్స్కి మాత్రమే ఇస్తారని లిస్ట్లో ఉందో దోస్ థింగ్స్ ఆర్ కాల్డ్ ఇన్సూరెన్స్ స్పేర్స్. నెక్స్ట్ థర్డ్ వన్, రెగ్యులర్ మెయింటెనెన్స్ బ్రేక్ డౌన్ స్పేర్స్. సో రెగ్యులర్గా నువ్వు ఆఫీస్ వెళ్తున్నావు వస్తున్నావు, రైట్? సో వెన్ ఎవర్ యు ఆర్ డూయింగ్ సమ్ సార్ట్ ఆఫ్ థింగ్స్, some sort of regular maintenance, that is your cleaning, that is your checking of oil, like this. Next one is breakdown spares. So breakdown అయినప్పుడు వెహికల్ కదలడానికి ముందే తోచిన పోలేనప్పుడు, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ if you see the breakdown spares, right? The third one is floating spares. It will be the direct or indirect spares which will be not affect to the main cost equipment thing. Next one, overhauling spares. So these are the extra which is used for servicing, or it may be any denting, or it may be some sort of any waterproofing. This all comes under the overhauling costs. Next, contingency materials. What are the contingency materials? Which are of less cost, but the need is also not in demand, but they will be in the market whenever those are available. Then what are they? That is nothing but the rivets, spares, small handy tools, bangles, and other things which are very economy and also the mass production items. So like this, we are having six type of spares available in the market. Okay, understood? So the complete equipment. Second one is insurance spares. Third one is regular maintenance spares. Fourth one is sporting spares. Fifth one is overhauling cases, and the final one is contingency spares and rights, bolts. So these are the examples, and these are the various five types of how the business should be done. Right? These are the five types how they are used for this classification of the material. Next we'll see the various selective inventory management techniques can be described in a table form. So ముందు మనం ఏదైతే క్లాసిఫికేషన్ చెప్పుకున్నామో we will have a brief note on those classification. So later we'll see, once after it is completed, we'll see what is meaning of A, B, C analysis. If you see the classification, the first one is a ABC. The first one is A, B, C. Then what is the meaning of A? Always. What is the meaning of B? Better. What is the meaning of C? Control. Means always, better, control. So ఇది ఒక రకంగా చెప్పొచ్చు. A class items అంటే costly items, B class items అంటే medium costly, C class items అంటే very cheap and very low cost. Right? So what is the basis of classification? సో బేసిస్ క్లాసిఫికేషన్కి ఎలా బేసిస్? వాల్యూ ఆఫ్ కన్సంప్షన్, అంటే మనం వాడే విధానము. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, if you see your kitchen, if you see the kitchen, or if you see any grocery shop, so chocolates or biscuits or whatever he is keeping in the front table, సో అవి చాక్లెట్స్ బిస్కెట్స్ అన్ని ఒక బాక్స్లో వేసి ఒక జార్లో వేసి చూపిస్తారు. అదే చాక్లెట్స్, అదే కంపెనీ బ్రాండ్స్ ఆర్ అదర్ థింగ్స్ అన్నీ అక్కడ డిస్ప్లేలో ఉండవు. So some biscuit packets or some wholesale packets, big packets, so directly they will keep somewhere in the grocery room. Why this happening? Right? The value of usage, enta manam vadutunnamo, based on that also this ABC analysis are working. Then what is the purpose of this ABC? To control the raw material components and work in process inventories and in the normal course of business. So normal way of doing a business flow, how to control the raw material, how to control the work in process material, it will go for purpose. Then what is the second one? HML process. HML ante high, medium and low. Then the unit price is a material ani vallu cheptunnaru. What is the first one is the HML, high, demand, low. So the unit price is to be measured in this high and medium and low methods. Unit price of the material first we have to know. Then value of the item in storage. So whenever the item is in the storage, then what about this value? Right? Next, money control purchases, to review the inventory and the use of a subscribed intervals. The next one is VED analysis. What is the meaning of VED? Vital, essential, desirable. And also FSN, fast, slow, non-moving. SDE, scarce, difficult, easily available. Golf, government, ordinary, local, foreign sources. SOS, seasonal. Next one is the SOS, where it is seasonal. Next one is JIT, just in time. These are all the management classification. Based upon their criteria, they will change some of the things what's happening in the real time market. So ఇవన్నీ ఏం కంట్రోల్ చేస్తుంది? What is the basic assumption అంటే criticality of the component. Okay, the criticality of the component, and he will see the pressure, right? He will see the critical examination of the component, consumption, how much of consumption pattern of a component, problems faced in the procurement చేసేటప్పుడు problems ఎలా face చేశారు, and what is the source of raw material, source of getting the material, what is the nature of supplies, how to reduce or eliminate inventory and cost associated with the carrying. And then what is the purpose of this all the VED analysis, SD analysis, HG, GOLF, SOS analysis means to determine the stocking level of spare parts. So to determine the stocking level, to determine the stocking, how much you are maintaining the stock level in the spare parts. Next, to control the obsolescence. So next one is lead time analysis. Next one is a lead time analysis and purchasing strategies. So all this VED analysis, FS analysis, SD analysis, and goal and other SOS analysis will determine the stock level and also the control obsolescence. So what is the meaning? How it control? So whatever the things which are not existing, whatever the things which are not using, how to control those things? How to control those things means, for example, if you see the obsolescence means, uh, mm, uh, right? So pen drive versus your disk. So how many people are generally using your CDs, either DVD or CD, VCD or DVD? How many people are generally using? How many people are generally using the memory card, that is a pen drive? So with this example, you can say what is the meaning of obsolescence? వాడుకలో లేదు. Present it is there. Present the production of CDs are there, but these are used only for some sort of professional work. But pen drive is officially used where it is very easily movable, easily carryable, easily workable, right or wrong? So that is nothing but how to control వాడుకలో లేని ఐటమ్స్ ని మనం ఎలా కంట్రోల్ చేస్తాము. నెక్స్ట్ లీడ్ టైమ్ అనాలిసిస్ అండ్ పర్చేసింగ్ స్ట్రాటజీస్. సో లీడ్ టైమ్ అనాలిసిస్ ఎలా చేస్తాము? వారం ముందు, వారం తర్వాత, లేదా మంత్ తర్వాత వచ్చి ఇవన్నీ. So these things will consider by these things. Next one is procurement strategies. So procurement is also the same thing. How you are doing that job. Next, procurement holding strategies for seasonal items. The goal of all that both raw materials, working process, inventory are held to absolute minimum. So what are the main goals? What are the main things? All these things have, whatever the raw materials, whatever the working process, inventory materials should have a absolute minimum. So overga production undi kada, machines unnai kada, and we should not go beyond the production levels. So whenever you are going beyond the production levels, automatically you will suffer the problems of the production. Next, understood? So don't get excited, don't get worried. So the each and everything up to not golf is not there in your syllabus, SOS is not there in syllabus, JIT will be there in the last unit. So even we will discuss each step by step and also how to solve the problem, right? Okay. Okay. Yeah. So based upon this minimum information, what is there in this description table? So we will go in depth what is the meaning of so and so analysis. Next, the first one is ABC analysis, right? Then what is the meaning of ABC? Generally, always better control. So generally, in the big concerns, it is quite impossible to control thousands of different parts in the stores. అంతే కదా? In a big supermarket also, or in a big firm also, in a big factory also, where you are manufacturing mass production, there maintaining or keeping of the raw materials will be very, very problem. Storing. So, enta store chesina will have some sort of problem, right? In the big concerns, it is quite impossible to control thousands of different items of the stores. In such cases, stock is classified into categories of importance so that the concern can concentrate only on the stock items of importance. సో ఎప్పుడైతే మనం సెగ్రిగేట్ చేసి ఒక్కొక్క దానికి ఒక ప్రయారిటీ ఇచ్చుకుంటూ వెళ్ళామో when there is a huge quantities of items in the stores, then it will be very, very easy to sell the products or to market the products or to exhibit the products. For example, if you see your kitchen, for example, your father has purchased 3 kgs of sugar, 2 kgs of salt, 2 kgs of some other things like this. Then what your mom will do? So she will store some material in a big box. For example, sugar 5 kgs తెచ్చారు లేదంటే 3 kgs తెచ్చారు. But మీరు 3 kgs మీరు వాటర్ ఉండేది only 3 or 2 persons in a room, right? So whenever you are where you are started increasing students that concern that so I forgot. Thousands of countries in such concerns, stock is in a kitchen room. In a kitchen room, if you are if you bought 4 kgs of sugar, you are not pouring 4 kgs of sugar in a box and you are using directly. So what your mom will do? She will keep 3 kgs or 3.5 kgs in one box and keep aside. Only in a small box, she will pour some amount of sugar, some amount of tea powder, some amount of coffee powder, some amount of salt. Like this, she will store in a separate rack. So your kitchen itself, we can say it is a simple example of stores department or stores management. How they are storing, how they are storing. So here also you have to classify the stock into various categories of importance so that the concern can concentrate on the stocks items of importance. So appude manam will give the importance about the stocks whatever we are having in the godown or in the stores. Next point. The ABC analysis consists of separating the inventory items into 3 groups. So inventory stores lo unna inventory stores lo unna materials ni. So the ABC analysis can be divided into 3 categories. First one is A category, first one is category A, second one is category B, and third one is category C. Then according to their annual cost, so daniki samvatsaraniki poduguna unde cost according to their analysis, according to their annual cost volume consumption, they are categorized. So what is the meaning of cost volume? Annual cost volume consumption, that is unit cost into annual consumption. So cost unit yokka cost 10 రూపాయలు into annual consumption. So 10 రూపాయలు item ni if you are using for 3 days or if you are using for 1 day or if it is only for 1 day consumption, then what about the annual consumption? So ante kada, for example, if you are using a toothpaste, so how many toothpaste are required for your house for 1 year? So if you have a rough estimation or if you have the annual cost volume consumption, how you will do? So you will take a reference of past year. So last year మనం ఎలా కన్జ్యూమ్ చేసాము? సో 100 grams of paste 5 తెచ్చామా లేదంటే 40 grams of paste తీసుకొచ్చామా? So once we decided the weight and also we have to decide the price, ఎకానమీలో తెచ్చామా లేదా? సో యాన్యువల్ గా యూజ్ అవుతుంది కాబట్టి, సో if you are getting in economy, automatically the price will reduce. If you are working for the things, it will be increased. So thereby the basic management principle employed for inventory management problems. This is the basic management principle employed for inventory management problems solved. These are generally used. Here, the inventory, that is the spare parts. Here, the inventory or register or categorized. Here, the inventory are categorized according to their annual consumption based upon the terms of rupees. Based upon the terms of the rupees, right? So with this basic things, we will go in deeper about the A, B, C and analysis. Next one. So if you see the full more depth of this ABC analysis, by this table you can easily understand what is the meaning of ABC analysis.